to be talking about some of the investment opportunities alongside economic growth prospects within some of the key African nations, and of course here with a specific focus on Nigeria and Togo. We will also talk about some of the work that their respective governments are doing to help mobilize private sector capital. And in anticipation of doing this panel, I thought I would also just put together a few statistics that I thought were quite interesting. Between 2019 and 2023, UAE companies have announced, this is UAE companies alone, have announced $110 billion worth of projects in the African continent, $72 billion worth in renewable energy. This is according to FT locations. These are more than double the pledges made by companies in the UK, Europe, or even China. So it really just reaffirms this region's commitment to investment and to trade ties with the African continent. So I thought I would just start with that statistic. But before we go on, Your Excellency, Manuela, I'd like to start with you because I'm sure many in the room, also like myself, if I'm honest, I did not know a lot about the Togolese economy. So you have, the profile right now to just get us up to speed on how the Togolese economy has done, how resilient the economy has been given some of the world shocks over the last couple of years, and where you think that economic resilience has come from.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here on panel. So I'd like to tell you about Togo. Togo, a country that many of us don't know, but it's a country in West Africa. And very well, I like to call it the best kept secret of the world because it's so small, but very concentrated in opportunities. So when you think about Togo, think about a country with a steady growth. So the GDP is going strong, almost 7% this year, and we are known for our reforms, our political reforms. So according to the World Bank, we are ranked in West Africa first in West Africa and the third place in the whole Africa in terms of reform and the climate. Okay, so what do we need? How does the government do to attract investors? So we all know that for investors to feel comfortable, we need to have peace. So Togo is known for its peaceful environment. So it's peaceful, and also stability. We work on reforms to welcome investors. So how to, on laws. So we have many laws that are voted years after years to really strengthen the climate, the investment climate. So this is what the government is working on right now in terms of laws and for stability.
Yeah. You precipitated one of my questions about reforms.
Apologize.
No, it's okay because we were definitely going there. But I also want to put the question to Dr. Adewale as well. Just also, the reason I'm asking about the economic picture for countries because oftentimes, investment opportunities come alongside high growth opportunities. And so how do you see the Nigerian economy now in terms of its ability to attract investment into the country?
Thank you for the question, and it's really a pleasure to be here alongside my sister here, Manuela. So the Nigerian economy, GDP, about 500 billion. I think that, of course, it's one of the largest in Africa, but many have associated Nigeria with only energy and energy exports. Yeah. But it's quite diversified, and one of the priorities of the president is to diversify even further. So with agriculture, food security, manufacturing, digital trade, these are some of the areas that we're working on right now. Looking to UAE, UAE is one of our larger business partners, $2.5 billion worth of trade both ways. We're looking for construction coming in from the UAE services. We're looking to export agribusiness, digital trade, a lot of interest. I really enjoyed being here at Investopia. Yesterday was very productive. We have a young population, over 200 million people, and 70% of that are under the age of 30. So very dynamic and vibrant entrepreneurial population. I think in a nutshell, that's Nigeria.
Yeah, I looked at the actual recent economic GDP figures, and I saw that the non-oil part of the economy is growing a lot faster than the oil part, which is actually similar to the UAE, by the way. Just a question also on the currency stability, because again, you know, there has been a sharp depreciation of the currency the last couple of years, but in the last few months it started to stabilize.
Yes.
Is that going to be an appeal, do you think, a draw for attracting further investment?
Oh, definitely. So Nigeria's GDP is over 50% services, all manner of services. And since the new president resumed office in May of 2023, he immediately took broad reforms, sweeping reforms on monetary policy, the unification of the foreign exchange rates, the removal of the fuel subsidy that was costing the economy quite a bit, went on to integrate tax policy reform, which is still ongoing, but very sweeping modernization of the economy. So the reforms have been done. We're kind of at an inflection point now. The pain points have been taken, like surgery and the recuperation period over, and now we're at an inflection point. 2025 is a great time to come into the Nigerian economy for investment, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Your Excellency, you touched on this earlier, and just the work that your government has done in terms of introducing reforms, structural reforms. What role do you see for governments, in your government, in facilitating the mobilization of capital into your country?
So the role of the government is crucial. So when you go to a country and then you see that you have the institutional support, then you feel at ease. So my ministry, for example, we have an agency that helps investors to go through the whole investment journey. So so it makes you, it speeds up the process of investment. For example, in Togo, you can open a company in 24 hours, and then from the beginning to the end, you are with, so the government step by step follows you through those steps. So Jumbuke was saying that the United Emirates are one of the first partners of Nigeria. So next year, I'd like to say the same about Togo. We don't have a strong relationship yet, so this is, I think, an opportunity to talk about
Absolutely, and one thing that has also come to my attention is that in terms of the business climate and the operating business climate, Togo also ranks pretty high within the African continent.
Yes, so in terms of business climate, this is the word I was looking for. Yes, we are ranked, like I was saying before, number one is in West Africa, and this is due to all the efforts that the head of state is doing personally to make sure all the services are going, making the investors comfortable with Togo as a country to invest.
Yeah. Doctor, let me pivot back to you. We touched on reforms, I think, so I don't think there's a lot more to say there unless there's anything you want to add on what the government is doing.
Well, yeah,
okay.
There's always something
Go for it, yeah.
Well, just having worked on fiscal reforms, monetary reforms, the next stage is investment attraction and trade policy. So I've been working with my ministry, really focusing on completing that circle and making sure that, first of all, investment retention, businesses that are in Nigeria, making them more comfortable to grow their businesses in Nigeria, and then attracting businesses. We have some incentives, we have free trade zones, we have policies that make it attractive, also capital repatriation. These are the things that encourage businesses. The underlying G2G agreements have been put in place by my ministry as well, and just assuring investors that it's a good place to come and grow your businesses. We really need to take the amount of trade exponentially higher.
Yeah, so earlier on you were saying that typically people would associate the Nigerian economy with a hydrocarbon economy, but they're much like this part of the world. There has been a transition, there's been somewhat of a diversification. What would you say are the sectors that are most ripe for investment right now?
Well, you talked about renewables. That's a great place right now. The whole of Nigeria, a lot of it is like a construction site. It's booming. So that's another great place that I can identify from the UAE. We have mining, about 700 billion worth of commercially viable minerals available in Nigeria. We also have a growing ICT and digital trade economy, now about 10% of GDP. I think the opportunities are pretty much, the last one I would speak about is agriculture and food security. It's a great opportunity. That's almost 20% of our GDP and growing. These are areas that UAE businesses can come and that Nigerian businesses can also. These are areas we can catalyze trade.
Yeah, it also aligns with some of the objectives that the UAE themselves has set. I sat down with His Excellency, the Economy Minister, yesterday, and he was saying, out of the 3 strands looking ahead, one of them is food security and the circular economy. So at least from those verticals, the incentives are aligned. Your Excellency, let me go back to you as well, because Doctor touched on renewable energy being and renewable sources of energy being potentially lucrative investments. And I know because I discovered this yesterday, but actually the largest solar panel installation in West Africa is in Togo, and it was built in conjunction with the UAE. So that's a very tangible example of a project that benefited what you were saying about ripe investment opportunities, but also aligns with some of UAE's own renewable energy goals as well.
That's absolutely right. So it's indeed the largest solar plant in West Africa, and it's with the UAE. So one of the investment that we have with the UAE. Togo is actually looking to diversify its energy supply. So we are looking for investment in energy as well. Other priority sectors that we can talk about is agriculture and agribusiness. We can look into tourism. I know the UAE have a great expertise in luxury tourism. So this is actually also a great sector, TICS and many others.
Yeah, where do logistics come in as well? Given, the geographic situation of Togo, you've got the coast, but then you also have easy land access to neighboring countries. What opportunities do you see in that space?
Yes, there is a great opportunity. Togo is a logistic hub with a strategic positioning on the west coast. We have one of the most attractive port, the strongest port in the whole Africa. We are ranked number 4 in terms of it's a natural deep sea port, so big boats can come and do business, and 70% of the transit of the coast goes through Togo. So it's the strategic location of Togo makes it very appealing for investors as well.
Yeah. Doctor, the African Union designated Nigeria as its digital trade champion at the last meeting. What does this do for Nigeria, for the African Union, and for not just Nigeria, but the whole continent's ability to attract and mobilize capital? How important is it to be digitized?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we probably should have mentioned a bit earlier was the African Continental Free Trade Area and how that helps to catalyze investments that come into Nigeria, whether goods or services, to reach 1.4 billion people, a $3.4 trillion economy. That's the largest free trade area in the world. Now, with Digital Trade Championship, in the digital trade space, many people may know that out of the 9 unicorns on the continent, 5 of them emanate from Nigeria. So this is where Nigeria is very strong. Nigeria is strong in services and financial services. Our fintechs are particularly strong. And not just fintechs, our creative sector is also pretty strong. So in terms of exports of jobs, in services, in terms of technology, in terms of outsourcing of business services, bringing job opportunities to Nigeria and Africa. So we're digital trade champions for the entire continent, working with other countries to make sure that African youth can explore that talent pool, because everybody knows it's the youngest continent, and the talent pool is just amazing, particularly in technology and creativity.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity for Nigeria to speak to that globally, like I'm doing here, to represent those African youth, to make sure they can have productive jobs they can earn hard currency right from home, just using their talent and creativity. So that's the Digital Trade Championship. It's a fast-growing part of Nigeria's GDP, and we're really open to partner with other areas. I met 2.0 head here yesterday, and AI and technology and climate change, all the issues that make sure that Africa is also leading in this area. So Africa is the first area to complete its digital trade protocol and frameworks, and that was ratified. The 8 protocol annexes were ratified at the AU 2 weeks ago. And what this means is that Africa has a digital trade framework to trade with, while the rest of the world is still trying to put that together. So it's a great and exciting time for businesses interested in technology and AI to plug into the African continent.
Yeah, Your Excellency, I was going to ask, because AI is so topical these days, and people often say it is an opportunity, but it also could create further disparity in the world if some parts of the world are left behind in terms of technology and AI adoption. How important is it for these types of partnerships to come good in order to ensure that there are big swathes of the population, of the Togolese population, that are not left behind in terms of widespread AI adoption?
AI is extremely important, and in Togo we have a very dynamic policy of it. In AI, we have a Ministry of Numeric that is really active in implementing, and Togo is actually famous for that. During COVID, we used AI to actually distribute money to the less fortunate people. So there was a mapping done. So AI is actually used in Togo, and the government is actively looking for partnership to strengthen this area.
Yeah. Doctor, I touched on this in one of my earlier panels, but I think it's a relevant question. In an environment where the whole world is becoming slightly more fragmented and we're moving away from multilateral frameworks towards more bilateral relationships, trade barriers going up, would you say there is an even greater, bigger need to diversify your trading partners and to rely on trading partners who you can depend on over the long term?
So that's a great question, and it's so topical at this time. And so, yes, keep asking every single panel. So what it is that it's time for a mix, in the sense that, for instance, at Addis 2 weeks ago, the Africa Club, which is a group of African multilateral financial institutions, celebrated a one-year anniversary of catalyzing capital to deploy on the continent. So that's now growing in maturity of self-reliance. And I was listening to the last panelist speak about the role of sovereign wealth funds, looking more inward and supporting the economies with which they come from. Those are important roles. Now, while we've all had strategic trading partners over the years, it's also important to make new friends, and which is why we're here today. So it's important to cultivate friendships that have been growing, like Nigeria's and UAE's, and also our presidents have been close, have been leaning to work together and making that into practical business terms now, bringing win-win prosperity for all our people. So in the world of today, you have to identify who your old friends are, who your new friends are, and you have to make it count, because there's just really no time.
Yeah. Your Excellency, do you see the reevaluation of global supply chains as an opportunity to attract more investment?
Yes, it's an opportunity. So with the new global economy, having diversified partners is an opportunity. So that's why we're calling the United Emirates.
Yeah. Can I ask you, from the perspective of investing, there's a distinction between FDI flows, investment flows that come in, and loans. And how do you think of the validity of one versus the other in the interest of, again, achieving longer-term development goals and achieving economic prosperity ultimately?
Okay. So the mix of both is important, but I would like to talk about what we do in Togo. In Togo, we make the emphasis on the type of investment that we're looking for is the PPPs. So we give, we would like to have more implication for the private sector. So yes, for loans, but we would like the private sector to act actively into developing the country and bring their expertise, and that's the model we put the emphasis on
Yeah.
right now.
And Dr. May I put the same question to you as well in terms of the types of investments that Nigeria is seeking?
Yeah, so I think that in general, a lot of sovereigns have had debt challenges on the continent, and the more perhaps attractive means of capital is sustainable capital, foreign direct investment. Nigeria has done well in portfolio capital, attracting that, but in the long run, what we are here to project for is sustainable foreign direct investment. Now, this is important because it grows, it's a win-win for everybody, and in the sectors that we're looking for sustainable capital, it also helps to make sure that the business relationship driven by people's relationships, it inures and it grows. So in terms of longer-term trading routes and the sectors that we've identified, debt has its uses,
Yeah.
and it can be useful. But I think foreign direct investment by far with good trading partners and solid political relationships is the way to go, particularly in the world that we find ourselves in today.
Yeah. So just, we're getting towards the end of this, but Your Excellency, maybe I could just, if you could sort of spell out to the room what you're most excited or optimistic about vis-a-vis the trajectory of the Togolese economy over the medium term.
So what we stand out for is, like I said, the stability. Stability, especially on the continent, stability is very important. So when you look at the dynamic of other countries around, when you have what investors want is a peaceful investment, when you can have a return on investment and a safe place to invest. So Togo is the place that offers that stability and that security. And also with the institutional help that the government is there with all the reforms that we are implementing. So here to be throughout the process, the investment process. So I think this is what, it's the security that we offer and all the new opportunities. We have big opportunities in like construction as well, and those are things that we can work together.
Yeah. The same question to you, Doctor. What are you most excited about, optimistic about the next couple of years?
Well, it has to be Nigerian youth. It has to be the talent pool. Nigerian youth, the population, over 200 million people, 70% of which are under 30, a very entrepreneurial population, well-positioned geographically, English-speaking population on a good time zone, very, very, very talented across several sectors, particularly in services, also able to work in manufacturing, in agriculture. Really, the world is their oyster, and I'm really happy to showcase them to the world. I think that is where Nigeria has its competitive advantage, and we have to keep giving them the opportunities to thrive.
Yeah. Well, I can't round up without also mentioning that Nigeria are hosting Investopia in September this year. So talk to us about the plans for Investopia in Nigeria and what you're looking to achieve there.
Yeah, well, when I look at the cities that Investopia has been hosted in across the world, we're really very proud to host Investopia for the first time in Africa in Lagos at Eco Atlantic City, which is a beautiful, beautiful location, one of the pride and joys of Lagos State. We're looking forward to showcasing the priority sectors that we've talked about, and we came here with about 14 well-curated deals to present to UAE investors. Yesterday I had a really productive day. Mining and solid minerals, renewable energy, agriculture, data centers, a whole slew of business deals that have also been de-risked by Sovereign Wealth Fund and by IFC. I look forward to having, one of the things that I enjoyed the most yesterday was the speed. 10-minute meetings, 15-minute meetings, focus specific, getting things done. That's what we look forward to having in Lagos.
Yeah.
A lot of deals closed.
Yeah.
It was so exciting, and Nigerians are entrepreneurial ready, having a well-prepared session that deals come, UAE businesses and the rest of the world come ready to close deals, and Nigerian businesses and the deals are ready for signing the dotted line. So I look forward to announcing a significant amount of deals closed in September.
And I think you perfectly encapsulated what Investopia is about. Ladies, thank you so much. Thank you for the very informative panel, and thank you to the audience.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.